came out from that story.
It's a typical lie. It's a damn lie. They have decided to change power every 8 years. So whatever they will do to help the other to win power, they do.
Well, we have details as the NDC throws a challenge to the former NSB boss to go beyond the allegations and publish names of the individuals who received parts of the cash.
My arch opponent will give me resources to defeat him in an election. Doesn't make sense. It's not possible. I can speak on authority. It's not possible at all. They should go and do plea bargaining. Otherwise, he's going for 25 years.
We have details here on top. Sorry, my name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Our top story is always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Well, tonight, the search for who received proceeds of the Eduboahene 49 million Ghana Cedis Signals Bureau cash, as some minority parties have denied receiving part of the 8.3 million Cedis election coalition logistics and equipment support from the Bureau. The former National Signals Bureau boss, Kwabena Eduboahene, was currently standing trial of allegations of stealing, money laundering and others. In a memo to the National Security Coordinator, accuses the Attorney General of mounting a malicious prosecution against him, now claiming that the 49 million cedis he is alleged to have stolen were used on covert national security operations. Now, the memo also warns of serious national security implications if the state goes ahead to fully prosecute the case. Now, some of the political parties have already responded to this, all denying receiving any cash. We'll hear from them shortly, but my colleague James Aveji has joined me with some excerpt of that particular memo. James, remind us how much was allocated for the parties on this list and what was it intended for?
Well, Brace, so this is item 8 on the list, and the amount is some 8.3 million Ghana cedis, equivalent to some $500,000 US. Now, this is an election special operations to support as a support for opposition party communication equipment for purchase of that, and the intent is for stability of the nation or national cohesion slash political impartiality, and this money was doled out in September 2024. The particular recipient of the cash,
and this is for election results coalition, the equipment they bought.
Exactly. Okay. But the particular recipient of the cash, although they said it is for the opposition party, purchasing of communication equipment and election result coalition for the opposition party, the particular person who received this cash,
and they made it classified in that aspect,
has been classified on the document. On that particular document, Brace.
We also know of, when you go deeper into it, there were some other allocations of interest.
Exactly. If you look at item 4 and 5 on the list, talks about parliamentary special enactment of NSB Act, which is the National Signals Bureau Act 2020. An amount of 960,000 Ghana cedis was allocated for that in 2020 and 2021. It was labeled as MP's allowance on the Defense and Interior Committee. So this was meant to pay for allowance of MPs during the enactment of this particular act. Again, in 2024, during the special enactment of the NSB LI in 2024, an amount of 309,000 Ghana cedis was allocated for payment of allowance for the MPs on the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, which interestingly, at the time in 2024, the chairman of that particular committee is the now Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayini, of that particular committee. And finally, if you look at item 9 on the list, which captures election special operations logistics, vehicles, a 2024 Nissan Patrol Platinum, as well as 2024 Nissan Patrol Titanium, as well as 2022 Land Cruiser GXR, costing an amount of 5.1 million Ghana cedis, were purchased in December 2024, and they were given to the then special aide to the president-elect.
Okay.
That was the recipient of the amount as they have captured on the list. So those are the other, allocations of interest on that particular list coming from Mr. Edu Boahin.
Would put this to the parties when we do get them, but the main opposition party and our governing party, the National, so they were the then main opposition party because their reference to the president-elect then. The National Democratic Congress has rejected this particular, accession. Deputy Director of Elections and IT, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, says there was no way the then government will resource the NDC to take them out of power. Listen.
On authority, I'm telling you, the NDC has nothing to do with what came out from that story. You see, when they are talking opposition, they know the opposition they were talking about. Even those people that they are referring to helped them in their recent demonstration. You know their partners. That's what he was referring to. And I'm sure everybody would have seen that. Otherwise, no right-thinking person will, my arch opponent will give me resources to defeat him in an election. Doesn't make sense to you. They were also opposition, but they didn't find the need to oust MPP. They were always supporting them. When we were in IPAC, you saw your cameras were there. Anytime we were against EC and MPP, they will come strongly and be supporting MPP and EC. NDC had nothing to do with that. We fought them hard. We used our own resources, we mobilized our own resources, and dealt a heavy blow to MPP.
Is it possible that there was some money given to the NDC, but maybe it was someone much higher up and you wouldn't know about it? Is it possible?
It's not possible. I can speak on authority. It's not possible at all. I'm saying that the people these guys are just hanging on a raw straw. It will help them. They should go and do plea bargaining. Otherwise, he's going for 25 years. In fact, we are supporting the Attorney General. He should go ahead with the prosecution and deal with him properly. The party has no business in whatever rubbish coming out from that corner. We are not part of it.
Well, we've also been hearing from the founder and leader of the Liberal Party of Ghana, Kofi Akpaloo, who in a twist of event is rather pointing accusing fingers at the two major political parties, the NDC and MPP, of engaging in a love affair to take over power from each other after every 8 years, and that the possibility of the MPP assisting cannot be ruled out.
It's a typical lie. It's a damn lie from the Director of Elections of the NDC. If he's not lying, it means he has no clue about what happens. The whole truth is that there's what we call divide and rule. It's between MPP and NDC. They have decided to change power every 8 years. So whatever they will do to help the other to win power, they do. So you see that in the previous government, they were making some mistakes that if you think about it, you ask yourself, why are they doing this? Because they were trying to pave way for NDC to come to power. That's the truth. They have sat down in 1992 when they were moving from military rule to this democracy that we are practicing. That, hey, you will do it and we will do it. Mm-hmm. So let's do it that way. So when the time comes, we will support you to win. That's what they have been doing.
Well, Mr. Akpaloo,
they supported themselves. They supported MPP. They supported NDC. But they don't support other smaller parties. Nobody does that.
But what you're saying, do you have evidence to prove what you're saying, that they share that with NPP,
yes,
NDC?
Yes, I do. I have the knowledge about everything. So they share the resources.
This is stop. Sorry, let's broaden this discussion and bring in, Kwame Nkrumah Botio. He's General Secretary of the CPP. Kwame, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Did you receive any support from the governing NPP in 2024?
We did not.
Nothing.
We did not receive any support. We received support from well-wishers, and if we had received anything close to what is being bandied about, we would have won the election. As you can tell, we're so resource-strapped. We didn't even have one TV advert, not one radio advert, and just had one billboard. The allegations that are coming out are preposterous because these are taxpayers' money, whether in a rich country or a poor country. You don't just dole out $500,000 to an opposition party for whichever reason, especially as it falls outside the remit of what you call security reasons. And the CPP, for example, what kind of security risk does the CPP pose which would necessitate $500,000 being given to the CPP?
But specifically, they said it was for communications equipment for election results collation.
You know, the collation of the results, if you see the footage in the strong room, I was there with my IPAC members. We did the collation ourselves on my laptop. And our able regional chairman also did the collation themselves on the regional level and then forwarded the results to us. We didn't have any collation equipment at all, except our laptops. It was live on air. You saw it.
Okay. All right. Kwame, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. He is the General Secretary of the Conventions People's Party, Kwame Nkrumah Botio there. Let me bring in Mr. Vitus Azim. He's an anti-corruption crusader. Grateful to you, sir, for joining. Do you sense any corruption in what is happening now?
Well, it's very difficult to conclude without asking further questions.
Okay.
I would ask Mr. Duboahene, did these people that he said he gave the money to apply for assistance? If they did apply, was it in line with the policy of your institution to support that, to give that support? Is there documentation? What is the proof that you actually gave those monies to those people? What was your expectation? Were you expecting a favor? Is it because you thought that the NDC was going to win so that you give them money so that when they win, when they come, they'll keep you there? So that, these are some of the questions that we need to ask him. Besides, now that the Attorney General came out makes this allegation against you, is it a way of trying to mess up, just to muddy the waters so that people think that, you have a case? We are not sure about that. So this is how I look at it. Yes, there's a possible source of corruption. Because some of the things you mentioned, if you want a law to be passed, you have to go and give money to parliamentarians to pass the law. Somebody may say that will be happening. I know that we hold workshops for parliamentarians to try to convince them about the need to pass a certain law. But it was in a workshop. The amount of money that was given, was it reasonable based on what you were supposed to do for the parliamentarians? So I think that this raises a lot of questions that require further investigation. They need to question this guy further and then follow up on the beneficiaries of the so-called things that monies that he gave to.
Must this serve as the foundation on which to call for maybe lifting the veil on the expenditure of the national security setup?
You see, a lot of governments have always used national security to do a lot of things, to spend money that may not actually be legal. So just say, national security, so who said? It's national security. It's an investigative committee. They have a right. You may not publish it, but they can get that information. So if you decide to investigate, if it's national security, you need to give that information to the committee that is investigating the matter. It will not be made public, but they will decide whether there's a basis or there's no basis for it.
So not time for us to lift that veil, for us Ghanaians to understand the exact expenditure from the national security, because now it's shrouded in secrecy because of, as they say, it's a national security issue.
It would have been good for us to lift the veil, but the powers that be will not allow us to lift that veil. Because it's not one party, they all use it.
Okay.
So you may not get the necessary powers to lift that veil. But at least you should compel the person to provide information to a committee that probably is set up to investigate the matter.
Mr. Azim, kindly stay with me. Let me bring in Mustafa Gbande. He is Deputy Director of Operations Office of the President. Mustafa, grateful for joining. We understand that there is a meeting between security chiefs to discuss this matter. What's the update?
So first of all, I'll speak to you on this matter as Deputy General Secretary of the NDC.
That is fine, yes.
And this serve from that responsibility, Deputy Director for now.
Okay, that is fine.
Attempt led by Atachia, his suspect in custody, to blackmail the system with the sole intention.
But Gbande, can you position yourself? Your line keeps breaking here and there. Yeah, let's try.
I'm saying that it's a calculated, malicious attempt led by Atachia and his suspect who is in custody to blackmail the entire system, put national security into controversy with the sole intention of shielding his suspect who on a broad daylight is involved in misappropriation and stealing of public money.
Are you saying these expenditures didn't happen?
Adubuahin is not a national security coordinator, and for the purposes of reference under Akufo-Addo, there was a minister for national security who were in charge. Adubuahin cannot assume the role, power, authority of a coordinator or a minister only because he's in custody. Number two.
But Gbande, the Adubuahin is not assuming he's a national security coordinator. He is writing to the national security coordinator
to do what?
Through the Director General of the NSB to put out these issues as he knows. Now, are you saying that these expenditures are not expenditures that took place and that he's only conjecturing them?
You know, the structure of spending and operations at the national security is far from this cooked criminality we are talking about. And so let me assure you that there's nothing far from trying to divert attention, and it is enough for Atachia in any serious jurisdiction to be discharged of his legal profession, because this is abnormal. We have had deputy national security coordinators convicted for misappropriation. How different is Adubuahin? Is it the first time?
But are you inferring? Hold on. Are you inferring that it was Atachia who leaked this document? That
is his lawyer. Didn't he go on radio to say that, okay, because my client have written this document, if you prosecute him, it has national security implications. If this is what he calls national security, then we are presiding over crimes. And I can tell you as a student of security that this is nowhere close to national security. This is broad day TV. You go and open an account close to the name of an institution you sit on. Transfer money to that institution. You have a contract with Ghana Water. You take money from Ghana Water and transfer it to your private account. And you say it's a national security matter. It's a gang rape of our republic.
Now, if you read a letter very well, it says, I'm quoting him, I cannot tell where the AG gets his theories from, but as your good office would have learned by now, the matter relates to transactions between your special services account, into brackets, special operations account, coordinated account, and SPV account, BNC Communications Bureau. So what this says is that the BNC Communications Bureau is a special purpose vehicle, not his company.
If it becomes necessary for all these matters to be discussed before a judge, it is possible to be discussed. Why does he open court in a public opinion when he is in custody? This is Atachia's plan. That is what he understands by law. And it is an attempt to cover and shield a criminal. We should dismiss this conversation.
No, but hold on. This is a letter addressed to the National Security Coordinator.
It's legal.
Why are you? No. Hold on. Listen to my question first. I'm saying that this letter is addressed to the National Security Coordinator, National Security Council Secretariat. Why are you trying to make it seem as though it was him and Atachia who leaked the thing into the public?
Inviting the National Security Coordinator, currently who have a high, impeccable record of policing, sitting there with an integrity to negotiate, mediate criminality. And that invitation should be dismissed. How does an intelligence officer, simply because you are in custody, decide to declassify national security information to the public to shield yourself? And that is what we understand by national security, and that we are entertaining this cock and bull story of a crook in this country. Is that national security? That classified information you declassify when you are in custody because you've been caught on misappropriations? Didn't he buy private residences through that account, that special operation account? He then had the authority to buy houses out of that account. That is national security operation. And he's saying that he sponsored collation of resource. The NDC collated our resource. I do know that the MPP had, a system in place to rig the 2024 election, which failed. Maybe that is what he's talking about.
And
he should not draw in the credibility of political parties into his criminality.
And I guess you are referring, these are all alleged cases. They haven't been proven that indeed, he is at fault here. But if you look at the letter he wrote, he is also reminding, the AG of using, sourcing things that are not his. Or he says, with assets we do not own, and a few we own, which mostly predate the 2020 transactions he raised. So we must be careful here. He says the things that the AG used here, some of them are not his. Even the few that are his predate that particular transaction we are talking about. But again, if it is national security expenditure, and these have happened, doesn't he have the right to alert the national coordinator that if we go on, we may probably spill a lot of beans that we shouldn't?
When you steal money and you are caught, then you say that the person whose money you have stolen, you've given some to their children, and so therefore you should be immune from being prosecuted. Is that what Adubuayin is trying to draw all of us to do? And we are entertaining this conversation. All right? Then he says that a national security matter is collation of election resource. Are we serious as people in this country? And that you will use national security money to sponsor political parties to collate election resource, and that constitutes a national security matter.
Okay. But what are the three vehicles the national security through the Signals Bureau got for the president-elect then?
This is not the first time government lend hands to political parties and individuals as far as politics is concerned. And it's not extraordinary. If you profess to be rich and you have gifted people vehicles, and it is clear and it has come out that you've stolen the money you were holding, it doesn't immune you. It doesn't take away the fact that you are a thief.
But Bande, my question is, where are the three cars now as we speak?
The three cars were not given to NDC. And I'm just telling you.
No, they were given to, he didn't mention NDC. He said,
look, when President Akufo-Addo became president, the first BMW he drove for his swearing in was not his car. This is not the first time political parties, political actors receive, gratis from government officials and people in government. It's vice versa.
Okay,
that's okay. Steal the money
but I just from what you're saying, it means it is true that they bought some three cars and gave it to the aide of the president-elect then, right?
I'm saying that if you have a personal relationship with anybody, NDC or anybody closer to the president, and you've given the person cars, that suggests that you should go and steal the money to buy the cars, and that it makes you a clean person. You are still a thief. You are still a thief. It doesn't matter who you gave your money to, whether you pay tithe or you gave it to church. You are still a thief. And Adubuahin is a thief. And that is what it is.
No, but Bande, you need to watch how you call him a thief, because a court of competent jurisdiction has not pronounced him a thief, and as the law says, he is innocent until proven guilty. So you have to watch how you use the thief here. But am I right to surmise that indeed some 3 cars were bought for you. You say it's not new. So am I right to surmise that indeed some 3 cars were bought for the president-elect then?
I do not know whether it happened or not. But these are matters that can be discussed before court. Witnesses can be called. But I'm saying it does not amount to this deliberate cover-up of Atachia and his suspect, who is in remand, and that it is a deliberate attempt to blackmail the entire system, jeopardize this matter, and it won't wash. It will not wash. The fact of the matter is that the guy was a national security officer at the Signals Bureau. We have a convention where Deputy National Security Coordinator and others have been jailed for misappropriation. How different is Adu Buahin? And Adu Buahin doesn't have the authority of a national security coordinator for us to say that he was operating under strictly national security or the Minister of National Security. He was in charge of Signal Bureau. The objective of Signal Bureau is clear and distinct from national security. That is the conversation we are having.
Okay. Any update on this meeting between security chiefs to discuss this national security issue?
Please. Security chiefs have always met and discussed security issue. Adu Buahin is not the reason why security chiefs will meet. Anybody who told you that is lying to you.
So the former security couple is not meeting the security couple today to discuss issues?
They have a cook plan to jeopardize the credibility of security agencies in this country, to deny them from taking them on. And it will not wash. Okay, this is not the first time security chiefs are meeting to discuss national security issues. We should not bring in Adu Buahin because these are matters before the court. Okay,
I'm grateful to you, Mustafa Gbandida. He's Deputy General Secretary of the governing National Democratic Congress. Let me bring in Vitus Azim now. Vitus, I'm grateful to you for staying. How should we progress on this particular matter as we move on?
Additional information for the Attorney General in his investigations to go further into it and build his docket. Of course, when you start talking about these international security matters and should not be put in the public domain, it already raises suspicions. Is it that you want to try to prevent the government from investigating this matter? Why all of this? You can ask to be heard in camera if you think they are national security issues. So why do you also come and put this in the public domain and threatening that it can affect the country's security? I think that doesn't have a basis.
But Mr. Azim, they wrote to the national security, so they didn't put it out in the public like that. Not so?
Who put? Well, I don't know who put it in the public domain, but was it the national security that was investigating the matter, prosecuting the matter? Why did they write the national security?
Mr. Azim, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Vitus Azim is an anti-corruption crusader. This has been Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies, holding insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Up next is Ghana Connect with Kweku Asante.